I have women that write in and tell me that they think that their husband's controlling them. And what do you say about that?
You mean like my husband's being controlling, or and they don't like it? That's why they're writing in. It's a problem. Well, you know, each situation is different. I mean, I don't know like what she was referring to, but generally speaking, you know, we always go back to principles, and we have learned and believed that...
well, let me say this. She wrote in specifically and said her husband controls the way she dresses. He doesn't want her to dress a certain way, and she thinks he's being too controlling.
Well, again, I think it just comes down to, you know, this issue comes down to what we've discussed before, and that is God's design for the family, and you know, wanting to do His will, and you know, not wanting to do our own will, and so I think it comes down to trusting, and so that means that we trust in God, and therefore we trust in His design. So you know, I think spouses need to learn to trust each other in the Lord, you know, and it looks like if a man has a thunderstorm on his back, you know, if a man has a good understanding of the fact that he has family responsibilities, then the wife should accept the fact that she also has responsibilities. So what we teach and what we live and what we believe is that we have responsibilities and obligations and responsibilities and such. And so the question is, to who do you answer, and who are you responsible to? Who are you responsible to? Who do you answer to?
To God and to my husband.
Well, then, if you know, there you go. If you answer to God and to your husband, then there's your answer. Now, if you see, there's some conflicts that are going on because of because of conflicting information. You know, but it's a profound subject, and you wrote a whole ebook on this. But the controlling thing seems to be common just because of the culture. You know, there's two ways to look at that, too. You can have somebody saying, well, he's controlling, and on the other hand, the other person could be saying, well, she's rebellious. Well, she's being rebellious. Well, he's being controlling. Who's right? Who do you know? So you're butting heads. And that's what's going on, is that you're butting heads. And so what you need to do is take some steps back and go back to what we just said. Go back to Jesus and understand the scriptural design. So then that leads to, well, I mean, what if my husband says everything he says, I got to do everything he says? Well, again, that comes back to the responsibility. A husband has responsibility to love his wife, and she ends up having to trust his judgment, even though she doesn't see it or understand it.
And is it part of that love protecting his wife?
Well, protecting, you know, but again, it just comes down to, she may not see it as protecting. You know, she may not understand that it's protecting, and he feels it is protecting, and so it comes down to her trusting, and so if your husband is you know, walking with the Lord, then there should be no reason not to trust. If there's some conflict, you should be able to talk it out. But the bottom line is, you know, if you have a disagreement, then there's a question there about just submitting and then try to work it out later, you know, if you need to.
Okay. Well, I know that it helped me a lot to trust you. Well, I also saw that I realized you were walking in God's ways, but it helped me to know that it was God's will for me too.
It helped you to understand the issues of being the husband being, as far as me being a protector, and the way that I see things as having that responsibility of protector.
That's right. It's also God's will too, and that's where.
So you needed to see that it was God's will, and not just me wanting to do my will.
That's right.
Or impose my will on you. But it was a way. It's kind of the way that God has, let's say, hardwired a man to be a protector. Well, that's God's design. That's what that means. So, anyway.
Okay.
All right. Well, thanks for writing that wonderful ebook.